Okay, today we have slope from an equation. Our essential question for today is, how do I find the slope of a linear equation? The same thing we've been focusing on. How do I find the slope of a linear equation from the equation? So given an equation, how can I tell its slope? So we're looking at slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. And each one of those letters represents a specific piece of information that can be taken from the equation. So m is the letter that represents the slope. Remember that slope is steepness, rise over run. B represents the y-intercept, or where the equation crosses the y-axis. The variables x and y represent the ordered pair xy, the point that you see for a point on the line. So each letter represents a different thing in the equation, and they're all important. So here's a few pieces of information about x and y. Remember that ordered pair. For every point on the line, the x and y will make an equation true when substituted into the equation. The x-intercept, sorry I skipped ahead, is where y equals 0, and the y-intercept is where x equals 0. So where it crosses the axis is where the opposite coordinate is 0. If the equation only has one variable, like x equals and y equals a number, then they are special cases that give you horizontal and vertical lines. So sometimes we're lucky and the equation is written in slope-intercept form already. We have y equals mx plus b. That's my slope-intercept form, so I can begin to pull the information from each piece. So I know that m is 3 over 1. We can always put whole numbers over 1. And b is -2, because it's the whole thing that goes with the b. Whatever the sign is, it goes with b. And that becomes the point 0, -2. So we can put whole numbers over 1, and y-intercepts always have a 0 in front. And then we graph the line. So the y-intercept is 0, -2, over 0, down 2. And then we just go up 3 and right 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. And there is our line through the point 0, 2, 0, -2. That's it. Just graphing an equation from a line. Sorry, graphing a line from an equation. So what you do when you see the equation is you just identify the slope. So in this case, our slope is -4 over 1, and our b is +5, so it's the point 0, 5. So we graph. So we start at the point 0, 5, which is right here. That's our y-intercept, that's our starting place. We always start here. And then our slope is the direction that we go. So we go down 4, right 1. And we go down because it's negative, but we always go right. If we only can make one thing negative, two negatives would be a positive, so we just want to make one thing negative. Down 1, 2, 3, 4, right 1. And again, draw a line. To extend beyond. When you draw lines, they have arrows on both sides. They extend through the points to cover the graph. That's all this is being able to identify the slope. M equals 2 over 5. Fractions are okay. It's actually easier when you have a fraction for a slope because then you don't have to worry about forgetting the 1. And our slope-intercept is positive 1, or the point 0, 1. This 0 will always be there because it has to be on the y-axis. And so the only way to be on the y-axis is to not go left or right. So we start at the point 0, 1. That's right here. And we go up 2, over 2, 3, 4. Nope. I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, because that doesn't extend 3 times, I'm going to go the opposite way. So now I'm going to go -2, -5, because that still equals a positive. So I'm going to go down 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can do this when I still need a positive to go the other way. The last one is missing something. So m equals -3 over 7. That's good, I can do that. But there's no thing here. What's nothing in math? 0. That means that b equals 0. So I'm just going to write plus 0 right here so I don't forget. So then my point is 0, 0. So that means I'm just going to go through the origin. And then I go down 1, 2, 3, and right 7. And then to do the other way, I can change both signs so that I go up 3, over 7. There we go. Get my line straight. And that's through the point 0, 0. So that's all we're doing, is identifying the slope and then identifying the y-intercept and being able to graph the line correctly. Now, what happens when it is not in pretty slope-intercept form? It doesn't change very much. It just means that we sometimes have to take an extra step. When the linear equation has both x and y on the left side of the equation, as written here, it is said to be in standard form. So the first one was slope-intercept form. This is standard form. The variables a, b, and c are always integers. The slope cannot be identified directly. You just can't pull a number out of that equation like we could the one before. To find the slope, I'm going to have to do a little bit of work. To find the slope in standard form, we need to rearrange to slope-intercept form. So it has to look like that other thing. To do that, remember slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b. To do that, we add the opposite of the x term to both sides. And then once we've done that, then we divide by the coefficient of the y term. So let's go through some examples of that. for you to be able to graph. All that you're asked to do is to find the slope and the y-intercept. I'm not even asking you to graph this one. So the first thing to notice is that it does have x and y. All of these will. They have x and y on the same side. I need to add the opposite to both sides. So plus a negative and a positive is 0. So that gives me 3y equals, notice I'm going to put the x first. And then it says to divide by the coefficient. The coefficient's the number in front. Oops, not negative. The number in front of the y, so that becomes 1. I divided both things by that number, so I'm left with y equals negative 2 over 3x plus 2. Now, I just have to identify that m is negative 2 over 3, and b is the point 0, 2. And that would be my final answer.
How's it going? You want me to be able to see what the kids are missing
Hold on just a second.
on the assignments? Because I can see if they're missing something, I can't see what.
Let's talk to it after. Okay?
Are you already on?
Hi guys, give me a minute and we'll start, okay? Let's wait for a few more people to join and then we'll start. Okay. That's gonna look like, Let's do that again. So we're gonna add the opposite of the term. So plus a positive 5x plus positive 5x. I'm just being extra careful with my symbols so that you can see what I've done. So that I get y equals 5x plus 4. Remember that we put the x term first. There's no coefficient here, so I don't need to divide anything. So that's it. So then I can identify the slope. Y is 5. B is the point 0, 4. And that would be all you'd have to do. So let's start here. We add the opposite so that I get negative 2y equals negative 3x minus 14. We divide by the coefficient of y, so that becomes 1. And I get y equals 2 negatives, make a positive, 3 over 2x plus 7. So that I get my slope is 3 over 2, and my b is the point 0, 7. One more. We're going to add the opposite of the x term. So I have 7y equals negative 4x plus 28. We divide by the coefficient of y, and I get y is negative 4 over 7x plus 4. And I identify that my slope is negative 4 over 7, and my y-intercept is the point 0, 4. Don't forget the parentheses. So that's it for finding the slope and the intercept from a linear equation to be able to graph them if needed.